welcome to Love and Life's Journey. I'm Chantel, and today's video is super fun. This is the first time I have participated in a mystery box challenge. So some other creators and I have gotten together. We have sent each other a mystery box with Dollar Tree items inside, and the person who I sent my box to did not know they were getting it from me. I did not know who I was getting my box from. I have no clue what kinds of items are in it, but I do know that there are 3 items inside that I have to come up with projects for, and she has chosen which items those are. And then there are probably some extra items in there that I can opt to use or not, but the 3 items that she has chosen I have to use in DIY projects. So we are going to first unbox my box and see what's inside. Okay, so here is my box. It came from Allie, who lives in Ohio, which is really fun because that is where my daughter lives, and Allie actually lives only like an hour away from my daughter. So maybe when I go to visit my daughter, I can go meet Allie, and that would be really fun. So let's open this and see what kind of craziness she sent me to craft with. So the 3 items that she sent me that I have to use are wrapped up or marked in some way. So those are the ones so that I know which ones she wants me to use. And then there are some other things in here. All right, so here's one of the mystery items. I'm going to wait and open these last. So there's one there. Here's number 2. And oh, she sent lots of goodies. How fun. And number 3, way at the bottom. Here we go, number 3. So I'm going to save those and open those in a minute, but let's see what else she sent me. Okay, so first we have a bamboo wreath. And, oh, a fun galvanized sign. I love these signs. That's a cool shape. I love that. Couple of bamboo cutting boards. These have been a hard thing to find. I have seen them in a few stores around, but these can be a little tricky to find. So that's a great item to have in my box. Oh, another galvanized sign in a different shape. Oh, and some of the laser cutouts, the stars, and then some of the insects. Those are fun. Those are also something that's hard to find. Ooh, some wired jute twine. That's great. And there's one more, these laser crosses. Oops. Oh, there's more. These are great too. These are the little fairy lights with the silk leaves on them. I love these. These are going to be so fun to use. Those are great items, but now I'm a little nervous for the mystery items that she's chosen that I have to create a project with. So we'll start with number 1. I don't know what it is. Oh, nice. A pack of scrap paper pack, and there's some shiny shimmery papers and just a whole bunch of paper. I can use that. Definitely can do something with that. All right, number 2. This feels like it might be a sign or something. Yes. Oh, that's fun. It's a sign, but it has this little turn thing in it. I'm gonna have to think about that. And number 3 is, this one could be challenging. This is like a Barbie bathtub. Good choices, Allie. This is gonna make me think and challenge me, so let's get crafting and see what we come up with. So I'm going to start with the first item, which was this paper pack. And honestly, when I unboxed this, I thought this was going to be the easiest one to use, and it really wasn't, because I decided I wanted to go with the kind of coastal or beach theme for this video, and the only real paper in this whole pack that goes with that theme is this navy blue and possibly this kind of off-white color. So that's what I'm going to go with. I had this little decor piece from Dollar Tree in my stash. It has a navy blue frame already, so I am going to use this. And I also found in my stash this wood anchor from this wood cutout pack from Dollar Tree, so I'm going to use that. And I'm going to add some nautical rope. I'm going to start by removing this little embellishment that's in the center of the frame. I'm going to start by measuring the inside of my frame, and I'm going to cut that off-white colored paper down to that size and then use just a regular glue stick to glue that down. Next, I'm going to cut my navy blue paper down to just slightly larger than the length of the anchor. Then I'm going to set that on top of my frame and mark the edges of the frame, and I'm going to trim off those corners. I want this to fit in the frame, so the frame actually is hanging like a diamond instead of a square. Then to give this some dimension, I'm going to glue some of these wooden cubes in the bottom of the frame, and then I will glue my blue piece of paper on top of those. I decided to leave the anchor just the natural wood finish. I thought that went well with the paper that was underneath, so I'm gluing that on, and then I am going to add my nautical rope, and I'm putting some hot glue in the end of the rope just to keep it from fraying, and then I'll hot glue that all the way around the frame. Then I'm going to trim off the end and add a little bit of hot glue in that end to prevent fraying as well. And to finish it off, I'm just going to take a piece of jute twine, tie a little loop, and hot glue that to the back. This video is part of a hop, and there's also a $50 giveaway. So to enter, you just need to click on the link in the description box to see who I sent my mystery box to and what they created. She will have a link to the next person's, and it will go all the way around until you have seen all 5 videos. You just need to comment on every video to be entered to win. The second item Allie sent me was this sign with this rotating piece in it. I am going to start by removing the hanger and also that little rotating piece. Then I'm going to sand off any rough spots, and I'm going to give this a couple coats of paint. I'm using Ivory Chalk Paint by Waverly. Then I'm going to use this paint stir stick because it's just the right width for what I want, and I'm going to draw lines down the sign to make it look like shiplap. I'm using a liner brush and a little bit of watered down brown paint to go over those lines. If you don't feel like you have a steady enough hand for this, you could just use a brown marker to draw over those lines. Now I felt like my lines were a little bit dark, so I'm taking just kind of a bristly brush and some more of the ivory colored chalk paint, and I am dry brushing over those lines just to make them a little bit more muted. Then I'm going to use that same brush and some of the brown paint and go over the top of my lines really lightly. This is going to give them kind of a shadowy look, kind of like the indentations between shiplap would be. And then I am going to add a little bit of dry brushing in between the lines as well, and then along the edges. I created these vinyl decals on my Cricut to add to my sign. If you don't have a Cricut, you could find a decal at Dollar Tree that would work, or you can use the technique that I'm going to show in my next project. Then I rummaged through our stash of seashells and I found these two that I like. I'm going to use a little bit of jute twine and hot glue that to the shell, and then hot glue it to the back of the sign so that they are hanging down in that open space. And I like to give my projects a finished look, so I am going to trace around the sign on some brown craft paper. I just picked this up in a roll at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to glue that to the back to cover up that design that was on the sign. Then I just used a tool to poke through those holes, and then I added the original hanger back into the original holes, and it's all finished. I really like how this turned out. If you are new to my channel, coming over from one of the other channels, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I do a lot of Dollar Tree DIYs and budget DIYs, so be sure to subscribe for lots more of those projects to come. All right, now we're moving on to that Barbie bathtub, and I found this blue juniper chalk paint at Walmart. I love this color, so I'm going to give this a couple coats of this paint. And once that's dry, I would recommend spraying it with some sealer to help the paint stay on. To make this piece, I am going to use some nautical rope from Dollar Tree, as well as these wood cutout shapes in the shape of a whale, a shell, and a seahorse. I'll also be using 3 of these 6-inch dowels from Dollar Tree. So to start off, I'm going to put a little hot glue in the end of that rope and twist it around just to secure that and keep it from fraying. This nautical rope really wants to fray badly when you cut it, and it's even worse than the twine rope. So this is a way that I found to help prevent that. And I highly recommend these finger protectors from Dollar Tree. They are amazing. I'm going to be using this rope to kind of disguise my bathtub, so I'm going to put it around the bottom of the bathtub, just gluing it with hot glue. And when I cut off the end, I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue in that and twist it tightly to keep it from fraying as well. Then I'm going to start right up next to that raised part that is the faucet of the bathtub, and I'm going to glue the rope down all the way around the top rim of the bathtub. Next, I'm going to take the seahorse shape and a little bit of brown antique wax from
Waverly. I am adding in some of my paint water because it's got a little bit of white paint in it, and I wanted to lighten this up and water it down a little bit because I want it to be a little bit more transparent, like a stain. I had this sea glass paint and it's for glass, but I really liked the color and I wasn't sure how it would look on the wood, but I decided to give it a try and I really like how it's a little more transparent and you can see the wood grain through it. And for my little whale, I just gave him one coat of navy blue acrylic paint. Next, I will take my three 6-inch dowels and I'm going to paint them with the antique wax, and then I'm going to wipe off the excess so that they are just a really light stain. I found this graphic online that I wanted to actually paint the seine onto my little shell, so I printed it out in the size that I wanted, and I'm just going to cut that out. And on the back side of it, I'm going to use a lead pencil and I am going to just color the back of the design, making sure that all of it is covered well with the pencil marks. If you have carbon paper, you could use that to transfer the design, but this is an option and pretty much everybody has a pencil at home, so this is something that will work for pretty much everybody. So now I'm going to place my design on top of the shell where I want it, and then I am going to trace over it with my pencil, and I'm going to press kind of hard because I'm trying to transfer the lead from the back of the paper onto the project. Now, the paint that I used on the shell made this a little bit hard because that sea glass paint had kind of a film, or it made it a little bit slick, and the design didn't want to transfer as well as onto regular acrylic or craft paint. So if you use acrylic or craft paint, it should transfer better than what I had, but I eventually did get it to work. Now I'm going to use my small little liner brush again, and I am going to paint this design. I'm going to use white for the words the and is, and then the navy blue for the words beach and calling. If you're not able to paint this with a paintbrush, then you could use a vinyl decal, or you could use a sticker from Dollar Tree, or you could just leave it plain. It would be pretty that way as well. I had planned to use some floral foam in the bottom of my bathtub to put the little dowels into, but I found these little decorative balls that I had, and they are the perfect colors, so I'm going to add these to my bathtub. But if you don't have something like this, you could use floral foam and then put some like Spanish moss on top of that. Then I'm also adding some various shells and coral to mine, and then I'm going to glue my little shapes onto the dowels that I just stuck down in those little decorative balls. This mystery box challenge was definitely a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. And be sure to go to the link in the description box below to see who I sent my mystery box to and what they did with the items that I picked out for them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.